Hello and welcome to Cloud Perceptive channel. Today we are going to do a hands-on session on AWS Serverless. So probably we are going to build a order processing system using Lambda and SQS. So this is the architecture diagram of the system we are going to build. So this is the API gateway that's going to receive a request from a user. Let's say a user is ordering a pizza, then it will fill up, select the pizza type and click on submit. After which this Lambda function is going to process the order. It's going to take the request from API gateway and pass it through to SQS queue. So this is the main order queue, and this is the Lambda function that's gonna read out from this queue the message, the order that is already placed in this queue. It's going to be read by this Lambda, and after successful processing of this order, it's gonna issue an email notification using SN. So let's say if in case this Lambda function reaches some threshold, it is not able to process this message, or let's say there is an outage, then what will happen is that this message will go in this dead letter queue. Okay, so after which a developer comes in and they debug this whole issue for not processing of this order, and after which they can reprocess this messages. Okay, so let's build this system. I'll walk you through to the AWS console and follow me along that. So I'm logged into my AWS management console and I'm here in the dashboard for Amazon SQS. Let's first build two queues. One is the main order queue. Okay, I'll keep it as a standard queue, and visibility timeout I'll keep it the default 30 seconds. Message retention period I'll keep it as 4 days probably. So basically this is the retention period. So after expiry, this message goes into the dead letter queue. So if you want to experiment, then you can keep it as 1 minute. Okay. Otherwise, we'll keep it as 4 days. Okay. So let's keep it as default for now. Next is delivery delay. So how much time you want to delay the delivery? So we'll keep it as the default. Maximum message size 256 KB. So you can choose between 1 KB to 256 kilobytes. So keep it as a default over here, and receive message wait time. So we'll keep it as a default as well. Access policy will keep basic. Okay, and we'll select the letter queue afterwards once we create it. So let's click on create queue. So basically our main order queue is created now. Now we'll create another queue which is order TL queue. The dead letter queue, and we'll keep the default same over here. Access policy is also same. Okay, click on create queue. Let's go back to the main order queue and click on edit. Set dead letter queue over here. Click on enable. Choose a queue ARN to the queue. So this is the order DLQ ARN. We'll mark it as a dead letter queue as a configuration for the main order queue. Okay. Now click on save. So that's the configuration already done. Okay, now we'll create Lambda functions. Okay. So let's create Lambda functions now. Okay, click on create function, author from scratch, and uh, receive order function, something like this, and We'll be using Java 8 on Amazon, Linux 1, architecture x86, let's go 64, and we'll be changing the default execution role afterwards. Okay, click on create function. It's going to take few more seconds now. So yes, this function is created now. Now let's upload our code. So this is my Lambda function code based on Java 8. So what I did is, first of all, going in the help section, click on install new software. I'll show you how you can configure basically, Eclipse with probably this AWS plugin. Okay, so I'll choose AWS Eclipse over here. It's gonna show you this four options. So for five options, okay. So you need to select on AWS core management tools, which includes all the core management tools. Okay. Next is under development. So it was somewhere in the development. So basically, under development, it shows up. One second. Let me just hide. Uh, Show the items that are already deployed. Okay. Yep. So you see this Lambda plugin. Okay, you need to select this Lambda plugin. Along with that, select full code management tools and click on next. Okay. So basically, after you click on next, it's gonna deploy all this plugin and it will ask you to restart your Eclipse. After which you will get this option over here. So when you click on new, let me click on new and other. You see these four options showing up, right? So that are coming from the AWS plugin that we have installed in Eclipse. So click on AWS Lambda Java project. Okay, so paste this code in the source folder. Let me just explain you this code. So basically, this is my handle request function that is going to be invoked by Lambda function. Okay. Next is uh, if the queue is not exist, then it's going to create a new queue. So this is my order queue. I will name it as main order queue. Okay. And you can also omit this step if you want, but I'll just kept it as it is. Next is it's gonna get the queue URL. Okay. This class object send message request with queue URL and with message body. So you can name it something like order mutual with for one pizza, one coke. Okay, and it will append the date time stamp with delay of 5 seconds, and we'll fire this method with a call for send message. Okay, so it's gonna send the message. So after sending this message to the queue, okay, the other Lambda function needs to read from this queue. Okay, so we'll recreate that. So let's deploy this code. I will export it as jar and will deploy it. So the build is successful and we have the jar that is generated. So just click on this demo jar file and click on save. It's gonna deploy this jar. Yep, the deployment is successful now. Okay, now let's start the test. Right, executing, but okay. So what we need to do is the error states that there is no class. Okay, so we are gonna go back to the code and here under runtime settings, see this class handler, which is not correct. So I'll put package 1 minute. Uh, it's something like this. Dot lambda function handler. Okay. And this is the method handle request. So let's click on save and give it a try again. Let's click on test again. So it is taking a bit of time, and we have it here. As you can see, this error message, right? Error message states that access to resource SQS.ap is denied. So that means that our Lambda function is not able to access the SQS queue. So let's give it the access. So now we have to uh, give it a proper role. Okay, under permissions, you see this execution role, right? So click on edit. This is the existing role. Okay, so maybe we'll have to look at in the AWS IAM console probably. So click on that link, it's gonna show you what policy it has. Let's create a new policy. Yeah. Okay, let's just click on the policies. I will name it as choose a service which is SQS. Okay. What actions I want to give it? Read. Let me just see the distribute and write. Okay. And coming to the queue resources, we are gonna select only that specific resource. So we'll add an ARN. I'll grab the ARN quickly. Well, I verified the username is correct, and it takes a little bit of time to increase the ground count over here. So we can see now that the count is increased to 5. That means that it is pushing the data in the main order queue now. Okay, and now let's create another Lambda function and read messages from this queue. So I'll open the Lambda console. So we have created this receive order function. Now we'll create a new function called process order function. Order function. All right, and we'll be using the same Java 8 Linux 1. And for the execution role, we are going to use the existing role, which we have already created. It is receive order, system order or something. Order. Let's search for order. Yep, receive order function. Okay, let's keep the same role. Okay, and yeah, the rest of the things looks good. Create function. Now let's make some modifications in our Java code to read messages from this Lambda. Probably it's gonna read messages from the SQS queue and process the order information using this Lambda. So this is my existing Java code. Here we have queue called main order queue, and we are calling some default API calls. So the queue name is correct. We'll just skip this send message part. We'll command this, and we are also going to keep this list message. So what it's gonna do is it's gonna read the messages from this queue, and it will receive it. Okay, and after that it's gonna delete it probably. So if the message is not getting not deleted from this queue, it will be visible again for other clients to process. Okay, so it is recommended and it is must probably to delete message from SQS queue. Now we also included this SNS part probably, so it's gonna send out an email message after reading this message. Okay, so let's just get the information. Okay, dot message. Let me just put this block inside this thing. Okay, and we'll add it as m dot. Let's see if we are able to get the message m dot. Okay, sorry, message is right. Yep, m dot. There should be some method to get the message ID. Get message. So yeah, this method allows you to get the body of the message. So I have written it as m dot get body and or SQS something like this. And let me just export a jar file and we'll upload it. So yeah, the build is success now. So I will just upload this jar file and we'll see how it goes. So my deployment package is successfully deployed. Now let me just try testing it. Test. I'll get an error related to SNS, I guess. Okay. Again, the same error. So just go back and receive order function. Let me just grab this handler code text process order function. So what I did is I just copied the same handler text because I use the same class. Just paste it over here and click on save. Now again we'll try to test it. I expect one error related to SNS because it won't be able to send an email. Let's see. So yep, as expected, it is showing an error related to SNS. So it's not able to publish to this SNS. Okay, so what we need to do is again we'll go back to our default configuration and execution role. Right, we got to edit this role and we have to add one more policy. Let's modify this policy instead of adding it. Add some more permissions related to the uh, SNS. Okay, so I'll add additional permissions. I'll choose SNS. Okay, and then I'll choose the actions. So I want to read, write, and list. Okay, and what are the resources? So basically, the resources should be the Lambda function, but I will choose all resources for now and review policy. So, sorry, the resources should be your SNS topic PRN, but let's click on save. So we are good now. Now let's go back to the Lambda function and try to execute. First of all, let's try to receive order. Okay. So we'll test it and generate a at least one entry in the queue. Already 4 5 available, so that won't be a problem. But all right, now let's click back over process order function, click on test, and again it should not show any error now, and as you can see it has successfully returned order placed successfully. Let's check our email and see if we have received an email message. So yep, I checked my email and I can see one email which is order from Ritual for one pizza, one Coke, and this is the date timestamp. So everything is working fine now. Now let's try to create a scenario where the order is not processed by the Lambda function and it goes in the dead letter queue. For that, I will explain you what needs to be done. Come back to my Lambda console. I will make some modifications. Okay, so I'm gonna make some modifications to my SQS queue. Okay, so going to the SQS dashboard and I'm gonna modify the main order queue first. Okay. So what we are going to modify here is that the message retention period. We'll keep it as 1 minute. Okay, and the other part is uh, the dead letter queue. Okay, which should be 1. Okay, okay. So basically, I'll tell you the reason why we set the maximum receives as 1. So this is the number of times the message can be received before sending it to the dead letter queue. Okay, received by the client. So we have kept it as minimum because we want to replicate something. So that's it. What we are going to do now is we'll invoke the order function. So that is the main receive order function. Okay, it's gonna receive. Let's say the order is placed. Okay, so we are gonna test it. Let's say if customer has placed an order and the order is now in the queue. Okay, it has reached to the queue. Let's check that. Under the queue, if I refresh it, I see 4, right? So after 1 minute, it's gonna place it in the uh, red letter queue. Let's wait for a minute. So basically now we'll try to invoke this lambda function again. It is executing. And now if we go back to this queue, we'll see one message. Okay, now we have one message over here. Now let's execute the process order function. See, in this process order function, we are not deleting the message, we are just receiving it. So unless you delete, it won't go out of the queue. So we can say that it is a partially, it is an unprocessed message only. Okay, so it should show it is an in-flight. Yep, It is showing as an in-flight because it is not yet processed, but let's wait for a few minutes. So yeah, after a few minutes, it has got into this order DL queue. So we see one message in it. Let's see what that message is. Okay, let me poll for this message and click on this message. We'll see the message that order from Ujjwal for one pizza, one coke. This is the date time. So this is how you can, move the message into the dead letter queue in case if it is not processed. I mean, unless you fire a delete command and delete this message from SQS queue, it won't. Uh, this won't happen. Now let's look at the redrive option. So let me configure the redrive option. Okay, click on edit. This is my dead letter queue, and okay, I will enable it and by queue, and we'll set up a source and click on save. So let's say you fixed your Lambda function, and now you want to, uh, you know, reprocess this message. So in order to do that, let me just check once more. Okay, I'm in the order dead letter queue. I've already enabled redrive option in this dead letter queue. Okay, and I've selected the main order queue as the source. Now you need to click on the start TLQ redrive button and redrive to source queue. Okay, just maybe you can also redrive to custom destination. If you have any other destination where you want to redrive, then you can select it. Otherwise, it will automatically select the source and which is already configured and move it. Okay, so it says that under the inspect messages there are one message that is available. So you can click on DLQ redrive. After clicking on it, it is showing that it is successfully completed. That means that it should have moved it to the main order queue. See, so now this message is available to process and process by our Lambda function again. So this is how you can reprocess the messages from dead letter queue. So that's it for this hands-on session. Thanks for watching this video, and do like and subscribe my Cloud Perceptor channel. Thank you again.